Hi, welcome. If you're here live, do me a favor and let me know that all is well in the mic and keyboard department. Let me know if you can hear me. Um, I restarted my laptop before going live today, so let me know. Ask in the chat, and if you're here live, you can give me a thumbs up or say yes or no. And we'll make sure that all is well before we jump into the lesson. Okay, wonderful. And Mark, could you hear keyboard as well? Hello, Manasi. Yay. Okay, we're firing on all cylinders. Oh boy, that is a voice teacher misspeak. Firing on all syllables. Yikes. Okay, so today's topic is how to strengthen your voice. And I want to give you a quick preview. By the way, if you are new here or it's been a while, and welcome, Manasi. This is definitely a beginner friendly lesson. We're going to talk about, for the first 45 minutes, our lesson is going to be focused on how to strengthen your voice. I'll take you through some principles and exercises, and then the last 15 minutes are set aside just for Q&A. So if you're here live, I would love for you to ask questions as we go along, but just know that if I don't get to your question, the last 15 minutes will be just for you. And Nick is saying he's going to save his questions for Q&A. Hey, it's cool with me. But especially if it relates to our topic, ask as we go. You don't need to hold it till the end. So first, we're going to talk about how strengthening your voice is different from strengthening other areas of your body. Why being weak is actually an important first step for many singers. We're going to talk about different types of exercises to strengthen your voice. Each type of exercise will relate to a specific issue that you might be having. So, those issues include insufficient cord closure, a lack of connection to your chest voice or speaking voice, using overly narrow or closed vowels, singing with a too low larynx position, and a lack of breath support or resistance. And then this was just interesting. Another voice teacher that I met online. Her name's Maddie Tarbox, and she did this series on the principles of exercise science and how those relate to vocal training. So I wanted to share that with you as well, and definitely credit her because she was the person who introduced this to me. And hello, Exceeding Grace, also a beginner. Awesome. So beginners are welcome. How strengthening your voice is different from other parts of your body. Your voice is not just one muscle that you strengthen. And really specifically, your voice is not a muscle that you burn out in order to strengthen. If you've, been working on, oh, nice, Manasi is taking a principles of exercise science class. So you'll know about these principles. It's a good sign, or it can be a good sign when you're working on your body. If you feel some sort of tension or pain, you kind of you feel the burn, right? And you know that you're on the right track. Of course, you don't want to be feeling pain like, "Ooh, I pulled a muscle," or I, threw out my back. But a certain level of pain is part of the process, right? So doing bicep curls, doing push-ups, you're going to be feeling those muscles burning. The voice is not like that. So if you're feeling tension, strain, burning, fatigue, oh my goodness, stop what you're doing. We don't want those sensations. That's a sign that actually we're not on the right track, that we need to stop and change something before we continue. Strengthening your voice is really more about coordination than it is strictly muscle strength. So I like to think of this as more like working on your golf swing. Strength is involved, but it's not just sheer strength. It's more the coordination, how you're using your muscles. And just to recap that, pain when it comes to singing does not equal gain. And kind of further along those lines, why being weak is actually an important step for most singers. This has to do with your head voice function. And Manasi was asking, I have acid reflux. Can I sing with acid reflux? Of course, you can sing. Um, Acid reflux, depending on the severity, it could cause some damage, but that's not something that I would be able to evaluate. That would be something that you would want to talk with a doctor about. Specifically, you might be able to get in and see an ENT. Ideally, you could see a laryngologist that specializes in the voice and in voice use. However, depending on what insurance covers, your ENT could do the same thing. They would scope or put down a little, camera down your throat or down your nose to visualize the vocal folds. Oh, and you said throat was fine. That's awesome. So if everything looked good and no damage has occurred, then that's great. I would say for most people with mild acid reflux, then usually what it comes down to is modifying your diet and lifestyle. So, not lying down after you eat, and you probably already know all the things. Um, so, yes, absolutely, you can sing. And acid reflux, unless it was laryngeal acid reflux, um, shouldn't affect the voice too much. So, your acid reflux would have to be pretty severe in order for it to actually reach and burn your vocal folds. Usually, that would just be going up your esophagus and not making its way over to your vocal folds, which are above your trachea. Um, okay, so why being weak is an important step. This has to do with your head voice function. So you have uh, your speaking voice in, voice teacher and singer land. We would call that your chest voice. And that's because if you place your hand on your chest, you're going to feel some sympathetic resonance or vibration. So if you do that with me, place your hand on your chest and say, hello, hi, how you doing? And then kind of see if you can roll right into some singing sounds. So, hello, how are you doing? Hi. There's essentially no difference between speaking and then singing in that chest voice function. But your singing voice is more than just that. Your singing voice also includes what we call your head voice or falsetto function, and that's what we use for higher pitches. So if you give me a woo woo, like a siren, wee wee wee, or a cuckoo clock sound, cuckoo, or an owl hoot is another favorite, hoo hoo, you'll feel that's a different sensation. It sounds different. So your singing voice includes both your chest voice and your head voice function. And while it's very, very possible to have a super strong, loud head voice, in fact, think about opera singers, they have a very, very powerful, well developed head voice. That's not the case for most beginning singers. Most beginners, especially low voices, um, their head voice function tends to be light, weak, breathy, unstable. And so, if we think about strengthening our voice and we just live where it feels the strongest, that's usually going to be your chest voice. But again, your chest voice is limited. You won't be able to sing all of the notes you're capable of singing using just your chest voice function. So the reason being weak is important is because that gives you access to that higher, lighter, woo woo head voice, and then eventually you start to marry the two and develop mix, and all is well. But if you just avoid your head voice because it's weak and never focus on it, your range will be limited and your voice won't be as strong overall as it could be. So, just throwing that out there, head voice function is a huge part of your voice. It's naturally lighter and it's not used in daily conversation. So, unless you've been singing, you probably haven't been using your head voice function all that much. So, it's extremely normal that it would be weak. And again, you will not just extend your chest or speaking voice into the ceiling. You need head voice for your highest pitches and in order to develop mix in the middle. So, all that said, just quick recap, pain does not equal gain when it comes to strengthening your voice. And sometimes a part of your voice is going to be weak, kind of out of necessity, and that's also okay. So, types of exercises to strengthen our voice. Most of the exercises I do today, thank you so much, Sherry. Most of the exercises will be more demoing the exercise, not necessarily taking you full through a full routine, but just giving you an idea. Hey, try this. If it works for you, awesome. So again, those, let's see, I think it was four or five. One, two, three, four, five. Five different reasons why you might be experiencing weakness in your voice, and then exercises to help strengthen. The first is having insufficient cord closure. Your vocal cords or your vocal folds come together, they chop up the air. And if they're not coming together for a long time or they're not coming together strongly, then we tend to leak air and we have a breathy tone. It sounds like ah, as opposed to ah, ah. And no matter how much I just will myself to sing louder or stronger, if I'm going like this, ah, there's nothing I can do. I'm trying to push, I'm trying to squeeze, and all that ends up doing is just more air leaks through. My sound goes sharp. I'm not getting any closer to a strong sound. So, if that's you, if you find that you're leaking air as you sing, you sound breathy, then I want to give you what we'd call hard consonants. Hard consonants being a g sound, g, 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 as in gum, or a b sound, as in bug, b, b, b. And I do see two questions from JME and then Mark. So I'm going to get to those in just 1 second. Hang tight. But I want you to play with this g and b sound and feel if you sort of, what's the word? If you hesitate a little bit before releasing the g or the b, you'll feel air kind of building up underneath your vocal folds. So make a g sound, g, 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 and now sort of hesitate before you release. G, g. And do the same thing with the b sound, b, b, b. Now hesitate. You'll feel air building up behind your lips. B, b. So, using both of those, your vocal folds are encouraged to come together more strongly than if you're just singing on an ah all the time. So, in the context of a vocal warm up, you can put a consonant like that at the beginning and the end. So, that would be like extra, extra supportive, would be gig, gig, or bub, bub. So, let's say you're singing and it sounds like this. Ah. And hopefully, JME or Jamie, this might help you. Instead of singing on an ah, try gig or bub. Gig, 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 or bub, 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 bub. And I'm just going to call you Jamie. If it's pronounced differently, let me know. But take that same idea, same type of exercise up into your head voice. Let's say you're singing. Ah, there's a lot of air coming through. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Then replace that open vowel with a gig or a bub. Bup, 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 or gig, 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 bup, 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 gig, gig, gig. And you can also play with that sort of hesitating before you release feeling. And in the beginning, it might not be that strong. It might still have a little bit of air leaking through, but hopefully you'll hear that you're getting closer to your goal of eliminating that extra air. We'll do other types of exercises that might help you as well. But that one to start, one of those hard consonants on either side, again, would be the most supportive. And then if you feel like, yeah, I'm moving in the right direction, just drop the final consonant. So instead of gig, try gi. So again, just demoing these exercises for you instead of gig, 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 gig. You could sing gi. Gi, 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 or ba, 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 So you have the support at the start, but not at the end, and you're easing yourself towards singing on an open vowel. Mark said, I know someone who has the opposite problem. They're a beginner, but they can only sing in head voice and don't know how to use chest at all. Do you know how they could fix this? Absolutely. My question for you, Mark, is what's their speaking voice like? Is their speaking voice strong and chesty, or do they also kind of speak in a hello, how are you doing? Kind of like a head voice falsetto function. In my life, I've known one person. They were also a music major with me at the time. And no, it's very chesty. Okay, awesome. Just to finish that thought, I know of one person who kind of spoke in head voice. They would say, "Hi, how are you doing today?" And they never used their chest voice. But great. So if that's the case, and this person has a nice, strong, connected speaking voice, then I would start there. I would find have them say hello and then sustain the end. So if they're saying hi, hello, and then find what pitch that is. So for me, that was around a B3. That's kind of just where my voice was comfortable landing. And then have them just speak on pitch. Hey, hi, hello. And I know that doesn't sound beautiful, and your friend might say, it doesn't feel like I'm singing. Um, that's okay. At least it's getting them connected to that function, and then they can make it start to sound more beautiful. But starting with just the strength, the function first. That's what I would do. So find where their voice is kind of comfortably landing pitch wise, and then have them speak some words on that pitch. And then maybe start to walk up and down the scale. So instead of just hello, have them say, no, 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 or go, go, go. No, 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 no. Very speaking voicey, not beautiful and melodic. I found with beginning singers that once they start to try to sing beautifully, they sometimes lose that strength. So your friend might run into that as well. And Manji, great question. Are these voice strengthening exercises a remedy for vocal damage? And will it cure your voice straining? No, I would say these are different topics that we're talking about here. Yeah, I get that, Mark. Mark said they're too worried about sounding bad. Aren't we all? So no, Manji, I would say none of these exercises, if done thoughtfully, would hurt you. But we're not specifically addressing strain here, or vocal damage. Okay. So insufficient chord closure using strong or hard consonants, g and b, putting them on either end of the exercise and then just dropping it from the end. And then once you're feeling good on that, then you can go to what we call a medium consonant that doesn't have quite as much oomph, not quite as much support. So for a medium consonant, think an M or an N sound. Ma, 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 or no, 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 no. Anytime you're singing with a consonant, it's going to be more supportive than just singing on a vowel. So, in general, if you are struggling with strength, you probably for the time being can insert a consonant onto your vocal exercise pattern. So instead of singing, ah, if it's really weak and breathy, add a consonant on there. Mum, 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 mum. Okay. Second, and Mark, this dovetails very nicely into your question. Lack of chest voice connection. So this sounds exactly like what your friend is worried about or is encountering. So my thought for this, don't worry about taking it too high, because again, if you're walking into head voice territory or even mixed territory, that head voice function might just naturally take over. So with a singer who's using exclusively head voice, I would keep the exercises really low and comfortable, just totally within their speaking voice range, not really pushing it. So, and by the way, if you are new and have not used these tools before, hello, Cal, and um, hi everyone joining. So this is one website that we often use, Virtual Piano, and the way you get it to show the keys on the keyboard is to click Key Assist and then turn Note Labels on. So if you open that in another window, and then now you're looking at a keyboard. For low voices, so that's tenors, baritones, basses, most of you should be comfortable in kind of a speaking voice sound up to at least, I'd say, B3. So and below. So lower than that on the keyboard would be walking to the left. For some really low voices like basses, they might be starting to get uncomfortable there, but in general, low voices should be pretty comfy in their speaking voice walking up to that B3, maybe A3 for a super low voice. And then for higher voices like mine, so soprano, mezzo, alto, most of you would be comfortable walking up probably to an E4 or an F4. Oh, sorry. Wrong octave right there. So saying, hey, hi, how are you? Or no, get out of here. That's E4 and F4. So not really pushing the limit if you are focusing just on your chest voice. Again, your chest voice should feel and sound just like your speaking voice. If you're shy or soft spoken, channel your outside voice or think of it a little bit as more of an acting exercise, because if I ask you to use your speaking voice and then your speaking voice is really, really soft and, um, you know, also kind of breathy and maybe weak, we might be not utilizing all that your voice has to offer. And thank you so much, Sherry. This is my natural hair that I'm embracing, and now that it's a little bit shorter, the wave has come out. So, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. uh okay. So, again, if you're shy or soft spoken and you aren't spending a lot of time in chest voice, then channel your outside voice, channel your whatever character you can think of or friend. Nice. Atlantis Creed is also taking acting classes. I hope that is so fun for you. Um, and you can also use emotion. So this is a tip that I picked up from another amazing voice teacher, John Henney. When he works on chest voice, sometimes he'll have you say go, go, go. And connect it to a situation in which you would be getting emotional, or like telling someone to go away or telling someone no, but in a stern way, go, 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 or no, 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 no. Automatically, when you're using emotion, your voice is going to respond with a little bit more strength. So if that's you, and you think it might be a lack of chest voice connection issue, then doing these types of exercises nice and low, very comfortable, and using a little bit of emotion or your outside voice. So let me take you through a couple of those. I'm going to start with low voices. Starting right here on D3. You can find that on the virtual piano, by the way. D3 is what we're starting on. The three pitches I'm playing are D3, F sharp 3, and A3. And you're singing go, 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 or no, 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 no. That's too low for high voices like me, but you can join in just a few cycles. So we're outside, we're getting maybe a little bit upset, or I don't know, whatever emotion would cause you to raise your voice a little bit. Ready and sing. Walking up. pause right here because if you're a very low voice like a bass or even a baritone, you might be reaching sort of an upper limit here. So the point is not range extension today, and the point is not belting. It's just connecting to your speaking voice. So if you feel like, ooh, it's starting to feel a little bit pulled or strainy, stop, take a rest. You could jump down the octave if you have those super low notes. But higher voices, jump in with me here. Now we're starting on F sharp 3. Go, 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 go. And again, the point of this is to feel exactly like your speaking voice. You're not singing, you're really just speaking on pitch. Ready and sing. Or sorry, ready and speak. Go, 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 go. 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 And probably right here, I would be reaching the end for high voices too, because again, we're not taking it so high that you're getting uncomfortable or pushing limits at all. Sherry saying, sometimes when I move from chest voice to head voice, I end up going sharp. Am I pushing too hard? Sherry, I don't know without hearing you, but that's a pretty common thing. I find for me and for most of the students I've worked with who have that issue, it's kind of just a matter of overshooting mentally. It's not even as much a physical thing that's going on. However, if you feel like you're pushing too hard, that could cause you to go sharp. I kind of demonstrated that earlier where I pushed a little bit more air through and I went sharp. Ah, ah. So if that's happening as you're going higher and then you're supplying a little bit more, a little bit more air, then it's very possible that that's causing you to pull sharp. But usually when I've encountered that, if we think a little bit lower and we kind of think of our notes as bullseyes that we're aiming like at the bottom of the target instead of straight in the center, that usually is a better fix. Your vowel might also be an issue. You might have to shade the vowel a little bit differently to not go sharp. In general, if your mouth is kind of wide and you're like in an E shape, you're more likely to pull sharp than if you're in like an O or an U shape. So these are all things to consider. Okay, third reason you might be a little bit weak actually has to do with vowels. This lesson is flowing just beautifully. Because we're just speaking about vowels, and my next point is overly narrow vowels. So if you are like, especially if you sang in choir a lot and your picture of singing is very like, kind of that sort of sound, you might tend toward a narrower vowel shape and a more rounded mouth shape. That's probably great for singing with a beautiful tone and blending well with other singers, but it might not always be the best for getting your strongest solo sound. So, if that's you, if you have a choral background, a classical background, or if just generally you tend to use a more rounded ooh oh kind of shape when you sing, then I want you to play with wider vowels. You can think of this very simply just as smiling a little bit more when you sing, or you can think about it as using more of an A or A shape and using that in exercises that you do. So instead of singing, for example, goo, 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 pretty but not super strong, maybe we try ma. Ma, 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 ma. Just that vowel, the setup and the resonance, you're gonna get a stronger sound without having to push or really try all that hard. You can even play with this on one single pitch. So not a vocal exercise, just single pitch. The tone quality and the strength that you're going to get on a narrow vowel like an ooh. I'm not saying that as more beautiful than the ooh. It's not, but it is stronger. And so you can train that strength and then, move from that stronger sound back to the more beautiful vowels. So let's try this together. We'll go through this time we'll do it in 2 octaves. So let's sing on ma, as in map or mat, that flat American sound. Just finding my pedal. We're going to sing ma, ma, ma. Ma, 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 ma. Wide and flat. Ready and sing. Ma, 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 ma. And even if you're flipping into head voice at some point, still keep that flat ah. So let's say you're here and you're in head voice, ma, 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 or mix. Let's say you're kind of losing some strength, ma, 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 ma. You might be a little bit more focused on having a beautiful tone than on singing strongly. So this holds singers back sometimes. It's held me back in the past. When you're working on strength, at least at the start, let yourself sound strong, but maybe a little bit ugly. So if that's you, if you're like, I still want to sound good, just experiment with me. Don't sound as good. Just sound stronger. And maybe in this instance and with this exercise, annoying. Okay, so instead of ma, 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 give me ma, 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 ma. Are you willing to sound a little bit ugly? Ready and sing. Walking down. Atlantis Creed, I have a naturally O-shaped mouth. When I'm guessing part my lips to sing without shaping, I'm guessing my mouth that way on purpose. Does that mean the wider sounds or exercises would help me more? Potentially. I'm not sure without hearing you. And again, there's nothing wrong with those rounded sounds. It's just if you tend toward that and are never utilizing those wider shapes, that could be a reason why your sound gets a little bit dark or muddy or pulls more head voicey. So definitely something to play with so that you have a full spectrum as well. Fourth reason that you might sound weaker than you want to would be that your larynx is sitting a little bit low. This is not a common issue. It's common if you are a classical singer or we're in kind of like a classical choir. So if you have a nice rich kind of sound all the time, but you have a hard time maybe belting or tapping into a stronger or chestier sound, then this might be you. I would start with a kind of neutral sound, as in bug, or as in book. But if that's not enough, then going for kind of catty, bratty exercises that can help to raise that larynx and get you a little bit more of the strength that you're looking for. So Manasi is asking, how do I put a strong tone when singing in head voice? So I might start here. So let's say you're singing in head voice. You're singing, ooh, and it's beautiful, but it's not very strong. I would again start with or ma 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 ma, or ba 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 ba. But if that's not enough strength, then maybe trying some of those catty bratty nays or nas. Get ready, it's going to be ugly. Na 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 na, or nay 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 nay. Again, that's just to build strength, because if you can do that ugly nay 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 nay, then you can dial back the ugliness, the brattiness, nay, into a more beautiful rounded sound, but still with the strength. So I hope that answered your question. Prioritize strength, and usually, especially for head voice, using those kind of catty and bratty sounds helps you find that strength relatively easily without pushing or anyways. So low larynx, use medium or even higher larynx exercises. And last little thing, last reason we're getting through this lesson, by the way. Last 15 minutes are all yours, and I'm looking forward to answering any questions that you have. Last reason would be a lack of breath support or resistance. In other words, is your body, is your abdominal muscles, are your abdominal muscles in particular active when you sing? Or do you inhale and then your belly muscles are just totally soft and all that air escapes? If that's you, then what we'd want to do is train a little bit of resistance. So, easiest way to do that is to start with a hiss. First, actually, I want you to place your hand below your belly button. So, this is low, low belly, just below your belly button. I want you to feel those muscles relax as you inhale and exhale. So, just in and out breathing. This time, exhale on a hiss and just notice what those muscles do. So, inhale and hiss. Something happened. I know for a fact it felt different that time. So, whatever that feeling was, it could have felt like pushing out with your low belly. It could have felt like staying or even crunching in. These are all different sensations to play with. But the main thing is your abdominal muscles are active. So we can then go from a hiss to a hum or a hiss to a Z. I learned this exercise as well from Mr. John Henney. So you're going to start on a hiss and then close to a hum, or a Z. And the idea here is that you're keeping that really gentle engagement of your low belly. So you're finding it just naturally on the hiss, and then you're carrying it into sound making on a Z or a hum. So that's where I would start. If you feel like your abdomen is not doing anything when you sing, start with the hiss, add some sound, and then, stay connected to that feeling when you sing on something like a lip trill or a lip trill opening to a vowel. Not losing that feeling of resistance or support. Okay, Last couple minutes of our like official lesson time, and then, oh, Manasi, that's okay. That's okay. You don't need to do the lip trill. I do have tips, and I have a few handy dandy lessons. So there's a lesson on what to do instead of the lip trill, and then there's a lesson on troubleshooting the lip trill if you really want to. But I'm going to find those for you. Okay, so this first lesson I'm linking is no lip trills. Those are other types of exercises to do that give you many of the same benefits. And then the second lesson I'm linking is how to do the lip trills and kind of troubleshooting a little bit. And those are both very short lessons. They will not take up your whole day. They are, the first one is 3 minutes and 11 seconds, the second one is 6 minutes. So enjoy, and you don't have to. You don't have to do lip trills. Mark is saying humming, yes, hum, NG, straw singing. Use what works for you for sure. Okay, so quickly, I'm going to run through these 10 principles of exercise science and then how they apply to vocal training. Again, credit to Maddie Tarbox for this idea. So, if you are the type of person who wants to approach training your voice as an athlete and, likes that kind of motivation and philosophy, then you might be interested in this. So the first principle is progression, and that's simply the idea that learning a physical skill happens in stages. You walk before you run. And so with singing, we don't go from couch to marathon either in one day. You learn, chest voice, speaking voice. You learn head voice. You start to put the two together with mix. Um, it's it's a process. So that's progression is number one. Number two, overload, and that kind of sounds scary, but it's not. That just means extending your current ability, but only just. So whatever you can do, um, the next step, the next step that makes sense to take in your vocal training is extending that just a little bit. So if you can sing for a certain length of time on one breath, then it would just be adding a second onto that. If you can sing to a certain pitch, then it would just be adding one semitone onto your range, not jumping jumping into the deep end of the pool. The third principle is frequency. Beginners should work on coordination. That's what we were talking about before with the golf swing analogy. You're working on coordination, not stamina right now. You might work on stamina later, but especially for beginners, shorter, more frequent sessions are key. And advanced singers can handle longer, less frequent practice. But this question was posed, and I think it's a great one. Maddie asked, "Are you training or are you straining?" And if you're straining, it's time to call it a day. um, Fourth principle is intensity. So you can think how this applies to singing. You can think about the firmness of your chord closure. We talked about that before when we talked about using those hard consonants to train. How far you stretch your vocal fold. So that means how high you're singing. Volume, how loud you're singing. And then duration, how long you're singing. And the kind of someone asked about vocal injury or vocal strain before, and one of the little phrases or aphorisms that gets thrown around in voice teaching quite a lot is don't sing too high or too loud for too long. And I know that doesn't sound super helpful because you're like, what's too high and what's too loud and what's too long? But the good thing is your body will tell you. If you're feeling pain, that's your signal. That's your signal. And so kind of be a detective with your voice. If you were singing quite high or quite loud for a certain amount of time and then you started to feel pain, that's your signal. Okay, I probably sang a little bit too high for too long or too loud for too long or any combination. Okay, so that was intensity. The fifth principle is time. And this was really, really good to know as a beginning singer or really wherever you're at in your journey. Most vocal injuries happen with overuse, not just with misuse. I'm going to say that again: overuse, not misuse. So I know a lot of us are concerned about misusing our voice, doing something wrong, and then, vocal injury happening in an instant. And that's just typically not how it happens. Usually, singers are singing for a long time. They're on tour or they're singing in a way that's unsustainable over a long period of time. They just keep at it. They keep singing too high or too loud for too long. Um, so that's really encouraging, especially if you're kind of nervous about singing and not wanting to damage your voice. That's good to know. Um, the sixth principle is variance or type. So, injury can be due to too much repetition of the same movement pattern. That's why we see injuries a lot of times in, runners. They have this same movement pattern that they're doing. Um, in the same way, it's taxing to sing the same pitch forever and ever, or just to do the same type of singing for a long time. Manasi, is it okay to talk a lot and sing a lot? So it depends on your definition of a lot, but again, it's your body is really good at telling you when something is off. So if you're feeling good, if you're feeling energized and not fatigued, then you're probably doing well. Um, Mark, I see some questions. Uh, Last few, I'm going to just race through these because this is your time. Um, the seventh principle of exercise science is specificity. Exercises should be specified to support your ultimate goals. So if you're a classical singer, doing exercises geared toward that. If you're a pop singer, doing exercises geared toward that. There is kind of some basic vocal exercise that applies to everybody, but that is good to keep in mind. If you want to do a specific type of singing, then your exercises should be moving you toward that goal. Reversibility. This one is very interesting. Singers will ask sometimes, how long of a break can I take from singing before I lose my ability? And you don't, in my opinion, you don't need to worry about losing your ability to sing because you're never going to be starting from the ground up again. You're always going to be at least a step above where you were. However, there is this principle that 3 days without singing, and it's kind of like you have to relearn whatever it was that you were working on. I take that with a grain of salt because there are plenty of times in my life where I've not sung for 3 days, and then I don't need to start from scratch by any means. But if you're a beginning singer, again, that's why consistency is important. That said, if you're injured or you're in pain, take the rest, okay? Don't let that 3-day principle make you sing on a sore throat. That is the last thing we want. And then very, very quickly, recovery. So rest within your practice session or, full days of rest. And then last, individuality. Use what works for you. So that kind of ties back in with the lip trills. You don't have to do them if they don't work for you. Okay, questions and answers. Mark, can I ask, how can I strengthen and train my voice to be able to hold a strong and long note while being able to maintain pitch and not letting the note drop or crack? Also, depending on what sound it's in, I struggle quite a bit with breath control, which affects it as well. Yeah. So I would say that most likely, um, your oh, yeah, Manasi, you can peace out if you don't have questions. You're free to go at any point. This lesson will also be posted later, by the way. It'll still live on the channel, so you don't have to worry about it disappearing. Um, uh, Mark, what it comes down to, training, for strong and long, for me, the easiest way to do that is to, first touch the note, then repeat the note, and then work on little sustains and then long sustains. So, on an easy pitch to demonstrate, first just touching it, "Hey," and letting your voice fall off, then repeating, "Hey, hey, 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 hey," and then sustaining a little bit, "Hey, hey, hey," and then, "Hey." The reason for that, um, you're, building up stamina little bit by little bit, but that repetition of the note, when you treat each repetition as a fresh pitch, you're re-engaging so that you don't fall flat. So if I repeated those pitches but didn't think of each one as a fresh note, then I could very easily go, "Hey, hey, 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 hey," and start to fall flat. But when you repeat, "Hey, hey, 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 hey," even think I'm getting higher. I'm using a little bit more energy. "Hey, hey, 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 hey," and then eventually again just go for the long sustain. Let me take a drink of water and read your questions. Okay, Nick was asking, out of interest, have you had personal experience with earplugs or in-ear monitors? I haven't used in-ear monitors very often. I've had maybe a handful of experiences with in-ear monitors. I don't own a pair myself. If I did, I would have more experience there. The key thing, though, whether you're using in-ear monitors or headphones, is that you're getting a good mix to your ears, um, that you're getting everything you need in order to sing in tune. So, you need to hear your voice within that mix, you need to hear the instrumentation within that mix, you need to hear the other singer you're singing with. Um, I personally still like to sing with one headphone off. Even if I'm hearing myself, I like to hear myself in the room. So, um, I don't know if every singer is like that, but I would say that's my personal preference, that if you are using, an in-ear monitor or even just an over-the-ear monitor like regular headphones, um, that you might have better results tuning wise and tuning with one another if you just have one ear in and one ear out. That's I don't know if that's a common thing. We'll have to survey other singers. Junior, hi, just tuned in. My question is how to control your breath to sustain a note for as long as a soprano. Well, um, I'd say first, the nice thing about this is we can train with just breath and then add sound later. So we can train singing on something like a hiss, seeing so earlier in the lesson we felt our low belly just below your belly button. We felt that engagement on a hiss. So your first step could be just working on releasing that air in a steady, slow stream and then adding sound. So easiest would be going from an S to a Z because it's the same idea. You're just now adding sound to it. So, and again, you're working on a steady, slow stream of air. So you're not being inconsistent, pushing air out. You're just very, very slowly letting the air out. And you're going to feel, by the way, you're going to feel what you need to do with your body in order to make that happen. For me, what I feel is I need to focus on pushing out a little bit, pushing out with that low belly and keeping my rib cage up until I've used a good amount of that air. And then I switch to a slow crunch inward with my low belly for kind of the last maybe third to a quarter of the phrase. So that might be an approach that you play around with, but I would encourage you to start with that. So start with a long sustained hiss and then a long sustained Z, and you're just going for steady release of air. Yeah, that's it. Well, okay, I guess the last step once you've done hiss and Z would then be to sing on an open vowel, but to keep that sensation the same. Yeah. Just a couple minutes left, my friends. This was fun. This was very fun. Let's do it again. If you have questions here. Okay, Nick said that's interesting with using one ear, having part of the headphone or earplug. I'll test that with Mark next week when we do our duets together, but I'll have to get his opinion on it. Yeah. I don't know if that's obviously I have both ears on right now, but I would prefer to have one ear off. I just like it. So next week, I believe the next 2 weeks are going to be Abram, and then I'll be back for June. Just giving you a preview because I don't think these lessons are posted yet. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks, Atlantis, for being here. Thank you all for being here. So next 2 weeks are Abram, and then I will be coming back on the 19th. Our topic is fixing your nervous, shaky voice. I don't know who can relate to your voice shaking when you're nervous. On the 26th, we're going to do some pop vocal riffs and runs for beginners. On the 3rd of July, we're going to do agility exercises for all genres. On the 10th of July, we're going to do building your head voice. So if you were here and you were, interested mostly in strengthening and building your head voice, we'll do that exclusively on the 10th. And then after that, who knows? Elise, thank you for being here. And Wayne was saying if you sing a chord, say D, if you sing D, F sharp, or A, would that work? Yes, absolutely. So, okay. If you're singing an arpeggio, like as an exercise, do, 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 D, F sharp, A, then singing any of those pitches would sound good, would fit. Do, do, do. And so if you're intending to harmonize as well or write a melody over that chord, then yes, absolutely D, F sharp, or A would sound good. If your intention, though, is to sing an arpeggio, then you would need to sing all three, do, 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 or adding on the octave. Oftentimes we'll do, 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 D, F sharp, A, and then D 1 octave higher than you started. And Nick, just casual. Nick's just going to be on holiday in Italy. Enjoy that, Nick. That's amazing. Eat all of the pasta and pizza for us, please. Thank you all for being here. Again, I'll see you not next week or the following. You'll see Abram here, and then I'll see you 4 weeks in a row for the latter half of June and then beginning of July. That's just how it worked out for our schedules. All right. I'm going to sign off and see you guys later. Bye.